Welcome to the worship service of the First Unitarian Church of Hobart. My name is Sandy. My pronouns are she and her, and I participate in the life by being your board president and doing a lot of other stuff besides. We are a religious community of people with diverse beliefs and shared values. Our diverse beliefs are expressed in our 6 sources, and our shared values are expressed in our 7 principles. Both can be found online at uua.org. Together we strive to grow spiritually, build community, and live our values in the world. And I have some live announcements, but let me do these other gazillion announcements I have. And if you have any questions about any of them, you can talk to me afterwards. Okay, first of all, IU Northwest and Northwest Indiana Jewish Federation Community Relations Committee are hosting a viewing and discussion of the film Repairing the World, which explores the healing of the community of Pittsburgh after the shooting at the Tree of Life Synagogue. That will be at 2 p.m. today at IU Northwest. And let Michelle know if you're interested, and if anyone wants to carpool. Michelle, will you raise your hand so people who don't know you know where to find you? Faith in Action invites congregants to join with Brown Faces Green Spaces on Saturday, April 13th at 10 a.m. for a cleanup of Marquette Beach. Let Michelle or Caitlin, who's not here today, know if you are interested or would like to carpool. Faith in Action will show the Ava DuVernay film Origin about the story of Isabel Wilkerson, the first Black woman to win the Pulitzer Prize for journalism, as she searches for links between slavery in America and Jim Crow, the Holocaust, and India's caste system. Amazing book, Caste, if you get a chance to read it. The showing will be April 12th here at church. Doors will open at 5:30 p.m. for snacks. Movies will start at 6 with discussion to follow. Pastor Leah's United Methodist Church in Hobart is sponsoring a Pride Fest the first weekend in June. They are looking for performers for the festival. If you or someone you know might be interested, or if you would like to volunteer to help plan this event, please let Michelle or Pete or Cindy know, and we can get you in touch with Pastor Leah. Faith in Action invites you to join our friends at First Presbyterian Church of Valparaiso on April 20th from 1 to 3. Madeline Wisaw of the Pokagon Band of the Potawatomi will talk about the history and current experience of the indigenous people of our region. Let Michelle, Pete, or Cindy know if you would like more information or would like to carpool to this event. Trivia Night fundraiser will be May 11th. The last one was a lot of fun. Teams will consist of 4 to 6 people. Cost is $100 per team. Invite your smartest friends and relatives to join you on a team. Sign-up sheets will be in the parish hall today. Also, there will be a suggestion box in the parish hall of trivia question topics. If you have ideas for funny, interesting, or unique trivia question topics, put them in the box. Nolan will be planning the questions again and being the MC like last year so that Tracy and Michelle can play, and he will pick the topics from the box. Anyone who would like to help the Farrells plan trivia night, let Michelle or Tracy know. Okay. Our rummage sale is coming up. It will be on the last Friday and Saturday of the month in this month, April 26th and April 27th. Setup will be on the Sunday before on April 21st. We will need a lot of people to help us bring stuff from downstairs and arrange the tables. We'll also need people during the week for sorting, pricing, and selling. And on the Saturday, the final day of the sale, we'll definitely need people here at 2 o'clock to help us clean up. You can bring items on the upcoming Sundays from now until the setup date. And last but not least, as those of you who are voting members, I hope that you received this week an email with information about the new proposed bylaws. There was an email that was sent to voting members. It was sent to your church email. You can view both the current constitution and bylaws and the draft of the proposed new bylaws on the church website. And I'd really love it if you could really read these and take notice of the things that have been changed. We will be voting on this at the annual meeting on June 9th. And I believe I have at least two announcements, Pete and Patricia.
Good morning, friends. Sandy most excellently included what I was going to say in her announcements, but I'm going to repeat it anyway, because I'm going to just talk about what this week. So today, at 2 o'clock, at Northwest Indiana Bergland Auditorium, the film Repairing the World with our Jewish friends. Please come if you can. I know there's a big women's basketball game at 2 o'clock, but I know a lot of you have VCRs, so you can maybe record that. But in any case, that's happening today, Sunday. This coming Friday, April 12th, 6 o'clock, right here at the church, the movie Origin, we're going to show. And at 5:30, we'll have snacks. So this Friday, right here. And then Saturday, a chance to join with Brown Faces, Green Spaces, be interracial, out in the world group. It's spring, time to get outside, have some fun, clean up Marquette Beach, see the beautiful lake. Saturday, 10 a.m. If you need a ride or anything like that, Michelle or I will try to carpool.
Well, I had something with my announcement written on it, but I'm on the board of the organization doing it, so I should be able to talk about it. Really quickly, I just want to bring everybody's attention to Region Con, which is happening on the 13th, at Saturday, April 13th, at the Cherylville Community Center. Parks, oh geez. Anyway, a good time will be had by all. I have flyers somewhere that I printed off this morning and brought here that to give you the information about admission, who gets discounts, what's included, any game things you might want to sign up for, like Settlers of Catan or things like that. So anyway, that's this Saturday, the 13th, at the Cherylville Community Center. In keeping with our game night thing, I hate ad-libbing.
When Pastor Tom is not in the pulpit, we invite a guest or a member of our congregation to speak. Today we have Patricia Riley Chirilla and Cheryl Powell going to entertain us. We are currently streaming our services online. The joys and sorrows portion of our service, however, is private, and we will take a break from streaming during that portion of the service. Other than that, the service will be recorded and will be available for future viewing on Facebook, YouTube, and the church website. Please let your Facebook and Twitter friends know you are attending worship with hashtag First Unitarian Hobart. Now, please silence your devices and take a deep breath and another, and join us in a spirit of reverence. Now, will you please join me in lighting the chalice? The words are in your order of service and on the cards which are in the pews and on the screen. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm doing the affirmation. Let's start this again. We gather this hour as people of faith with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, in celebration of the life we share together. The opening words are from a poem by Jeff May, Gathering in Our Own Space. Come, gather, not into a common space, sharing a physical closeness we long for, precluded by wise choice, but come, gather into this common time and a common space. We need to be together. We yearn for connection. We hunger for the familiar faces of friends, the sound of shared voices proclaiming who we are, where we are going, that which resonates with our hopes, our dreams, our values. Come, gather. We are here in this space made of all spaces, and we share our becoming in this moment. Please join in singing the opening hymn, number 346 in the gray hymnals. Stand as you are willing and able. Thank you.
For the affirmation of faith. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament. Service is its prayer. And this is its covenant. To dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. You can be seated. Thank you. To worship is to pay utmost attention to that which is most worth paying attention to. So when we gather each Sunday morning, we strive to bring that level of care and attention to our being together. For our ability to do that will rest on our Unitarian Universalist covenants, and to which we agree to be held accountable. As we receive 3 lines of our behavioral covenant and invite you to respond to each one with may we forgive ourselves and each other and begin again in love. What's on? I just want to make sure it was on there. Okay. For all the ways that we have neglected to participate in the life of our congregation, may we forgive ourselves and each other and begin again in love. For all the ways that we have not supported the goals of our congregation, may we forgive ourselves and each other and begin again in love. For all the ways that we have not accepted and civilly engaged with challenging situations, may we forgive ourselves and each other and begin again in love. You could greet your neighbor. We realize that everyone cannot attend in person. We extend a special welcome to those who are joining us virtually, and thank you to our tech team for making this possible. For those in the sanctuary, please take a moment to greet your neighbor by waving your hands and letting the warmth of your smile fill the spaces between us. And please stand for the doxology. Our deepest sorrows and our greatest joys in community. We believe that a sorrow shared is diminished and a joy shared is magnified. We pause, listen to what arises in our hearts. If anyone would like to share today, I will come to you. Please stand and share your name. Anybody? including those too tender to share aloud.
Our story today is Jumanji. And if you've seen the movie with Robin Williams, this is going to be a little bit more calm experience. It's by Chris Van Allsburg. Very popular book that came out. It's a Caldecott Medal Award winner. And people wonder why I'm sometimes a Luddite. Okay. Now, remember, Mother said, your father and I are bringing some guests by after the opera, so please keep the house neat. Quite so, added Father, tucking his scarf into his coat. Mother peered into the hall mirror and carefully pinned her hat in place, then knelt and kissed both children goodbye. When the front door closed, Judy and Peter giggled with delight. They took all the toys out of their toy chest and made a terrible mess, but their laughter slowly turned to silence till finally Peter slouched into a chair. You know what, he said, I'm really bored. Me too, sighed Judy. Why don't we go outside and play? Peter agreed, so they set off across the street to the park. It was cold for November. The children could see their breath like steam. They rolled in the leaves, and when Judy tried to stuff some leaves down Peter's sweater, he jumped up and ran behind a tree. When his sister caught up with him, he was kneeling at the foot of the tree, looking at a long, thin box. What's that? Judy asked. It's a game, said Peter, handing her a box. Jumanji, Judy read from the box, a jungle adventure game. Look, said Peter, pointing to a note taped to the bottom of the box. In a childlike handwriting were the words, free game, fun for some, but not for all. P.S. Read instructions carefully. Want to take it home? Judy asked. Oh, not really, said Peter. I'm sure somebody left it here because it's so boring. Oh, come on, protested Judy. Let's give it a try. Race you home. And off she ran with Peter at her heels. I'm just going to keep going. At home, the children agreed to spread the game out on a card table. It looked very much like the games they already had. There was a board that unfolded, revealing a path of colored squares. The squares had messages written on them. The path started in the deepest jungle and ended up in Jumanji, a city of gold and buildings and towers. Peter began to shake the dice and play with the other pieces that were in the box. Put those down and listen, said Judy. I'm going to read the instructions. Jumanji, a young people's jungle adventure, especially designed for the bored and restless. A. Player selects piece and places it in the deepest jungle. B. Player rolls dice and moves piece along path through the dangers of the jungle. C. First player to reach Jumanji and yell the city's name aloud is the winner. Is that all? Asked Peter, sounding disappointed. No, said Judy, there's one more thing, and this is in capital letters. D. Very important. Once a game of Jumanji is started, it will not be over until one player reaches the Golden City. Oh, big deal, said Peter, who gave a bored yawn. Here, said Judy, handing her brother the dice. You go first. Peter casually dropped the dice from his hand. 7, said Judy. Peter moved his piece to the 7th space. Lion attacks, move back 2 spaces, read Judy. Gosh, how exciting, said Peter in a very unexcited voice. As he reached for his piece, he looked up at his sister. She had a look of absolute horror on her face. Peter, she whispered, turn around. Very, very slowly. The boy turned in his chair. He couldn't believe his eyes. Lying on the piano was a lion, staring at Peter and licking its lips. The lion roared so loud it knocked Peter right off his chair. The big cat jumped to the floor. Peter was up on his feet, running through the house with the lion a whisker's length behind. He ran upstairs and dove under the bed. The lion tried to squeeze under but got his head stuck. Peter scrambled out, ran from the bedroom, and slammed the door behind him. He stood in the hall with Judy, gasping for breath. I don't think, said Peter in between gasps of air, that I want to play this game anymore. But we have to, said Judy as she helped Peter back downstairs. I'm sure that's what the instructions mean. That lion won't go away until one of us wins the game. Peter stood next to the card table. Can't we just call the zoo and have him taken away? From upstairs came the sounds of growling and clawing at the bedroom door. Or maybe we could wait till Father comes home. No one would come from the zoo because they wouldn't believe us, said Judy, and you know how upset Mother would be if there was a lion in the bedroom. We started this game, and now we have to finish it. Peter looked down at the game board. What if Judy rolled a 7? Then there'd be 2 lions. For an instant, Peter thought he was going to cry. Then he sat firmly in his chair and said, let's play. Judy picked up the dice, rolled an 8, and moved her piece. Monkeys steal food, miss 1 turn, she read. From the kitchen came the sounds of banging pots and falling jars. The children ran in to see a dozen monkeys tearing the room apart. Oh boy, said Peter, this would upset Mother even more than the lion. Quick, said Judy, back to the game. Peter took his turn. Thank heavens he landed on a blank space. He rolled again. Monsoon season begins. Lose 1 turn. Little raindrops began to fall in the living room. Then a roll of thunder shook the walls and scared the monkeys out of the kitchen. The rain began to fall in buckets as Judy took the dice. Guide gets lost, lose 1 turn. The rain suddenly stopped. The children turned to see a man hunched over a map. Oh dear, I say, spot of bad luck now, he mumbled. Or oh, perhaps a left turn here, then no, a right turn here. Yes, absolutely, I think a right turn or maybe. Excuse me, said Judy, but the guide just ignored her. Around here, then over, no, over here and around this. Yes, good, but then, Judy shrugged her shoulders and handed the dice to Peter. 4, 5, 6, he counted, bitten by a tsetse fly, contract sleeping sickness, lose 1 turn. Judy heard a faint buzzing noise and watched a small insect land on Peter's nose. Peter lifted his hand to brush the bug away, but then stopped, gave a tremendous yawn, and fell sound asleep, his head on the table. Peter, wake up, cried Judy. But it was no use. She grabbed the dice and moved to a blank. She rolled again and waited in amazement. Rhinoceros stampede. Go back 2 spaces. As fast as he had fallen asleep, Peter awoke. Together they listened to a rumble in the hallway. It grew louder and louder. Suddenly a herd of rhinos charged through the living room and into the dining room, crushing all the furniture in their path. Peter and Judy covered their ears as sounds of splintering wood and breaking china filled the house. Peter gave the dice a quick tumble. Python sneaks into camp. Go back 1 space. Judy shrieked and jumped up on her chair. Over the fireplace, said Peter. Judy sat down again, nervously eyeing the 8-foot snake that was wrapping itself around the mantel clock. The guide looked up from his map, took 1 look at the snake, and moved to the far corner of the room, joining the monkeys on the couch. Judy took her turn and landed on a blank space. Her brother took the dice and rolled a 3. Oh no, he moaned, volcano erupts, go back 3 spaces. The room became warm and started to shake a little. Molten lava poured from the fireplace opening. It hit the water on the floor and the room filled with steam. Judy rolled the dice and moved ahead. Discover shortcut, roll again. Oh dear, she cried. Judy saw the snake unwrapping itself from the clock. If you roll a 12, you can get out of the jungle, said Peter. Please, Judy begged as she shook the dice. The snake was wriggling his way to the floor. She dropped the dice from her hand. 1 6, then another. Judy grabbed her piece and slammed it to the board. Jumanji, she yelled, as loud as she could. The steam in the room became thicker and thicker. Judy could not even see Peter across the table. Then, as if all the doors and windows had been opened, a cool breeze cleared the steam from the room. Everything was just as it had been before the game. No monkeys, no guide, no water, no broken furniture, no snake, no lion roaring upstairs, no rhinos. Without saying a word to each other, Peter and Judy threw the game into its box. They bolted out the door, ran across the street to the park, and dropped the game under a tree. Back home, they quickly put all their toys away. But both children were too excited to sit quietly, so Peter took out a picture puzzle. As they fit the pieces together, their excitement turned to relief and then exhaustion. With the puzzle half done, Peter and Judy fell sound asleep on the sofa. Wake up, dears, Mother's voice called. Judy opened her eyes. Mother and Father had returned, and their guests were arriving. Judy gave Peter a nudge to wake him. Yawning and stretching, they got to their feet. Mother introduced them to some of the guests, then asked, Did you have an exciting afternoon? Oh, yes, said Peter. We had a flood, a stampede, a volcano. I got sleeping sickness, and Peter was interrupted by the adults' laughter. Well, said Mother, I think you both got sleeping sickness. Why don't you go upstairs and put your pajamas on, then you can finish your puzzle and have some dinner. When Peter and Judy came back downstairs, they found that Father had moved the puzzle into the den. While the children were working on it, one of the guests, Mrs. Budwing, brought them a tray of food. Such a hard puzzle, she said to the children. Daniel and Walter are always starting puzzles and never finishing them. Daniel and Walter were Mrs. Budwing's sons. They never read instructions either. Oh, well, said Mrs. Budwing, turning to rejoin the guests. I guess they'll learn. Both children answered, I hope so. But they weren't looking at Mrs. Budwing. They were looking out the window. Two boys were running through the park. They were Danny and Walter Budwing, and Danny had a long, thin box under his arm.
Whose glasses are these? Are these yours? Okay. All right. Good morning. I'm Cheryl Powell. I don't have my name tag on, I'm sorry. But most of you know me. Anyway, I'm talking about game night tonight. Pat and I are. And I can tell you we do not play Jumanji on our game nights. No. So anyway, and I have to also apologize. I have half a glasses here, so if they fall off, then I will try to do the best I can. All right, so why do people enjoy playing games so much? Games can offer a sanctuary where we can, at least temporarily, shed our real-life concerns and worries. Escapism can be a crucial element to mental well-being. By allowing ourselves to become immersed into alternative realities, be it fantasy role-playing game or a simple game of cards with friends, it allows us to decompress and unwind. For children, the benefits of playing games are numerous, ranging from problem-solving, learning, and improving social skills, to sharpening our decision-making skills, and playing games that offer so many other benefits. Even in the animal kingdom, of course I have to get that in, even in the animal kingdom, play serves as such a vital role in becoming and surviving adulthood. Undoubtedly, the most important and obvious benefit of playing almost any game with more than one player is the social aspect. Gaming cultivates social skills that we use in everyday life. Some games even promote teamwork and cooperation while enhancing multitasking skills and cognitive abilities. Gaming can also improve coordination and manual dexterity. And we all remember how we all learned the ever-important lessons on how not to be a sore loser and then practice winning gracefully. Some of us are still working on that. But in the most part, we all learned that as a child. My personal lesson of learning not to be a sore loser came not at a board game, but at bowling. When playing games at home, my father would always let me win. I was probably 9 or 10 years old when I finally caught on to his shenanigans. I was never quite sure why he allowed that, other than maybe he felt sorry for me because I was the only child and didn't have anyone to play with. So needless to say, I was used to winning. It was around this age that I joined a bowling league. Well, going from always winning because I was playing with my father, versus playing with many other children in a league was quite an eye-opener. It was a very tough lesson to learn. Now back to our game nights here. At the church, there are usually about 6 to 8 different people, sometimes more, and that doesn't count all the little ones that come. The first things first, though, we have to eat. That's the most important part. And there's always something good to eat, usually quite a bit of good stuff. Some people make yummy casseroles and food from home, and some buy it from the store or bring in from local restaurants. Either way, there's always more than enough. And it's all good. Good food and always great conversation. Always great conversation. After stuffing ourselves, we may end up getting a game or 2 or 3 out. It all depends on what games we brought that night and who all shows up. We may see old friends that don't come too often, but there's usually a bunch that are gaming pros. The usual bunch that are always here, almost always, are the Pats, Patricia and Patrick Cheryl, Sandy Waters, Barb Langle, Carrie Cool, Ashley and Corbin and the kids, and myself. Sometimes there are others come and bring their children as well. And the children usually go into the nursery and find all kinds of things to entertain them. They bring them all out, but they always put them back. But once in a while, they peek out just to see what's going on. They like to come and see what kind of games we're playing. The adult games that we play vary between board games, card games, dice, or anything else we find interesting. Many times, some of us don't even play games. We just keep talking. Like I said, the talking is very important. We always enjoy each other's conversation, and we learn all kinds of things from each other. Sometimes the group will play games, but I will just sit there and play on my phone. I'm not being antisocial. I just sometimes would get so engrossed in my game that I forget that others are around. Used to playing games by myself, the little Merlin and Simon Says, all those other games that were for one child. And then I forget that others are around, and I'm playing on my phone until I hear the raucous laughter that breaks out. Somebody's always doing something, and Patrick's always telling somebody that the rules of the game. Then I pay attention for a while, and then I'm right back to my phone. Either way, I enjoy being in their company. We learn all kinds of stuff about each other and all kinds of different quirks that we each have. I won't go into detail, but some of us have to play a different game each month. Some of us have to have all the cards facing in the same direction. And some of us just have to keep score. Again, it's all fun and games. We enjoy each other's company, and it gives us the very much needed break from our everyday lives. It's fellowship at its best. Thank you.
Good morning. I did find my flyers. So I will have some of these. If anybody wants them, feel free to make photocopies of them, or you can take a picture of them with your camera. You can take one home if you want. Here they are. I found them. Now I'm going to read from my phone for this morning for the very first time. Before I begin, I would like to give you some background information about myself and how I got here to this church and to be the co-organizer, one of the co-organizers of First Friday Potluck and Game Night. I had an interesting childhood. Unlike my peers who grew up as Catholic, Baptist, Lutheran, or other stripes of Christianity, I grew up around psychics, candle burning for specific results, astrology, and religious freedom. Before I was old enough to start school, my mom made sure that I could read. As a result, I was an advanced reader in school. There I was, a fourth grader in the 6th grade class, reading 7th grade material. This exposed me to things that most of my 4th grade classmates weren't yet reading. By the age of 9, I had already had my first taste of polytheism, reading about the strengths and we'll call them shortcomings of the gods and goddesses of the Greeks, Romans, and Egyptians. About that same time, I was captivated by the story of King Arthur, his Knights of the Round Table, and their quest for the Holy Grail. But strangely enough, it wasn't until 1977, when I was 14 years old, that I stumbled upon The Hobbit in the form of an animated made-for-TV movie. It had short people with fuzzy feet and long lives. It had dwarves, elves, and a dragon. It made for fantastic reading, and I began to look for ways to live like a hobbit. Fast forward to my college days in the mid-1980s, and I met a whole new group of friends. And I met my first DM, a dungeon master, the person in charge of running a game of Dungeons and Dragons, commonly called D&D. The game has humans, gods, knights, monsters, magicians, dwarves, elves, and of course, dragons. Right up my alley. While I moved away and wasn't connected with that group very long, it definitely got me interested in fantasy characters and the role-playing game culture. It was in 1989 that I discovered Margot Adler's book, Drawing Down the Moon, Witches, Druids, Goddess Worshippers, and Other Pagans in America Today. That book changed my life by not changing a thing. It simply validated my upbringing, being raised with all things magical, and it gave me a name for my religious beliefs and practices, which led right into Dungeons and Dragons. In 1991, on my own quest to find like-minded people, I found this place. I found this place and a religious home. And I was able to help carve a niche for others like me. That led to the Wheel of the Year rituals that we do in the parish hall, a now defunct book club, and game night, among other events. Now I bring you to the present and that potluck and game night event here at the church. And I feel kind of bad following Cheryl because she said a lot of the same things I'm saying, and we didn't even collaborate on this. First of all, while game night happens here in the church building, no churchin' is allowed. This is a time to just relax and have a fun evening, no strings attached that might exist in other churches. We start by gathering and breaking bread, so to speak. It's a potluck, food first. We connect through food with expressions of delight at the variety of dishes, both savory and sweet, old favorites, and new things to try. I brought the turkey wraps. I brought the casserole. I brought the popcorn. I've never been here before. I didn't know we were supposed to bring a dish. That's all right. Nobody cares. Make yourself a plate. Go on. We check in with each other, chit-chat a bit, and learn just a little bit more about each other every time we gather. As we finish eating, or at least we don't go back for more yet, we transition over to games. And as we're exploring the different games brought by the night's attendees, it's like looking at the variety of foods we've brought, a potluck of games. Oohs and ahs, you brought my favorite game. Oh, I've heard about this game and I've been wanting to give it a try. Oh, my kids love this game. After a few minutes, people begin settling into the games they're going to play, or not, and probably grab a little more food. There's likely some more general chit-chat, someone giving instructions on how to play a game they've brought, the choosing of tokens, or the dealing of cards. As the night rolls on, cheers of success and expressions of frustration can be heard around the room, and laughter from every table. After a while, it's time to start wrapping up the games, and we all clean up the place so we can go home. Hey, I brought this and I can't eat all of it by myself. You really liked it. Do you want to take it home for your family? Ooh, can I have a few of those cookies to go? I made extra to put out on Sunday for coffee hour. So much sharing and giving. While I would like to, we don't play D&D at this game night. It would take longer than we have for the evening. We usually play more family-oriented games such as Apples to Apples, Scrabble, Sequence, and Doodle Dice. But we have played games such as Carcassonne, Settlers of Catan, Flux, Dixit, and Above and Below, games that would be familiar in the board gaming and fantasy role-playing community. If you've never come to our potluck and game night, join us. No matter what your gaming style is, bring a game you know well enough to explain to others, and bring your kids and their favorite game to share. Bring your favorite recipe, or use us as guinea pigs and try out a new one on us. We meet here in the parish hall right behind me on the first Friday of every month from 6 p.m. until 9 p.m. Eat food with strangers, play games with new friends. I want to give a shout out to a few of the people who have inspired me on my gaming journey and been part of my gaming community for however long. Thank you to Ted, Kelly and Greg, Cheryl, Sandy, Barb, and Carrie, Ashley and Corbin and their family, my school friend Mary, Darren the Whip Cracker and his partner Carrie, and of course my husband Patrick. You all make the world more fun and more interesting. Thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl and Patricia, for a great lesson on building community through play. Now we come to our time of service for our offering. We give to remind ourselves of how many gifts we have to offer. We give to remember that we are part of something bigger than ourselves. We give because we believe in music and friendship. We give with the faith that together we have enough. Our loose change recipient for this month is Pride Fest. Loose change goes in the little tin cups. Pride Fest is being coordinated by our neighboring church, First United Methodist Church in Hobart. Michelle is working with Pastor Leah on this. Pastor Leah's congregation is financially supporting the event. The event will be June 1st and June 2nd. As Unitarians, we work to create inclusive communities and work for LGBTQ justice and equality as a core part of who we are. For that reason, Faith in Action has chosen to help contribute to this event financially by making Pride Fest our April Loose Change for Social Change recipient. Can I have 4 volunteers? The money in the cups goes to the charity I just talked about, and the money that goes in the baskets goes to sustain the work of the church. Again, for those not here with us today, there's an online link for both one-time and regular donations. For your prayers, your presence, your service, and your gifts, we are truly grateful. I would also like to mention that last Sunday I said that we had raised in our special one Sunday special collection we did for the Hobart family that was displaced by fire. I'd said we had raised $171. That afternoon, a couple people came forward and raised that total to $300. It's really good.
And now please rise in body or spirit for our closing hymn, number 311, Let It Be a Dance. Number 311 in your gray hymn.
The closing words are from a poem by Tanya Marquez, Our Lives Intersect. It is a wonder and a mystery that our lives have crossed, that in the immensity of time and the vastness of space, we coincide here. I am in awe at the ways in which our lives intersect and intertwine, at the beauty we create when we gather. May our coming together make us more compassionate, more just, more caring, and more loving. May our hearts and minds be open to this offering. I am so glad you are here. Let us worship, let us marvel at the miracle of being here right now and the mystery that has brought us together.
Every morning, every evening, ain't we got fun? Not much money, oh, but honey, ain't we got fun? The ransom paid, dear, we haven't got a bus, but smiles were made, dear, for people like us. In the winter, in the summer, don't we got fun? Times are bumming, getting bummer, still we got fun. There's nothing short of the rich get rich and the poor get laid off. In the meantime, between time, ain't we got fun? Landlord's mad and getting madder, ain't we got fun? Times are bad and getting badder, still we got fun. There's nothing sure